Hi guys, I am Susan, an intuitive and empath. I work with Archangel Metatron as my main guide. With my business partner Jennifer, we have a business, Orange Light Energy. Do a lot of energy healing, clearing sessions. I'll put the link below if you're interested in anything like that. What I wanted to talk about today is working with a pendulum. It's something that I like to use when I'm working, and I know others may too, so I just wanted to go over how I work with it, how I find it is most effective. As with all things of a spiritual nature, other people may understand it differently, have different opinions, different ways of doing things. That's fine. I can only come to you from my understanding, my experiences with it, and the things that I have learned have been helpful. But if you feel that doing things a different way is better for you, then trust your own intuition, your own energy. I just wanted to do this as a guide, as a way for anybody who's new to working with the pendulum or just looking for a way to make it more effective, to have a reference point. So I guess to start, it's, what is a pendulum? So a pendulum, it's a spiritual tool. It's something that can help you to connect with your guides, to get answers to questions, to get validation on things. Pendulums can look a lot of different ways. I go in cycles of which ones are my favorite. This is the one I work with the most right now. It is apophyllite and rose quartz. It is guided to this one. It's very specific to work that I was doing. Apophyllite is a really high vibration stone. You don't often see pendulums made of this. But you can see, when I ask a question, if I ask a question, or if I ask, show me a yes. See, it rotates round for me. If I ask it to show me a no, it's backwards and forwards. I'm not moving my hand. It's just the response to, to me bringing up the question. It may not move the same way for you. I know within my own family, it's reversed. Yes is backwards and forwards and round is no. It's very specific to what will be right for you. But I have one that is apophyllite, but also sometimes I work with this one. It's rose quartz. It's not really pretty rose quartz, but it's powerful. I'll use this sometimes if it's really emotional work that I am doing, working around relationship trauma removal, things that need the energies of rose quartz. This one I dropped on the floor, so it's a little bit damaged, but it's clear quartz. This I found in a shop and I just loved it. I felt drawn to it. Its energy felt good with mine. I have this one, looks different again. This is goldstone. This one I tend to use when I'm working with the god and goddess energies because that's just what it feels like. They like the sparkle. Or I have one that's copper, this spiral. They all work, they all do the same things. They all work for me in the same way. So I treat them the same way, but really I'm showing you all of those so that you can see there's no one pendulum that you should get. If you feel drawn to a particular pendulum, a particular crystal, go with it. Follow that, because what you are being drawn to will be right for you. You can go into stores and do it, or you can look online and just see which one do you feel drawn to, which one are you looking at, which one is it that just feels good to you. So when you're working with any spiritual tool, they're corruptible. They can get interference, they can get other energies attached to them, just like we do. So to me, when I start working with a pendulum, I'm going to use this one as a reference point since it's my favorite right now. Always clear it. As with any crystal, you can clear crystals in any way that feels right to you. There's a ton of different directions online. For me, I like to just clean it. I place it in my hands and just set the intention to fill it with divine white light, to clear its energies, to, prepare it for the work that we're going to do. And then I connect it. Who you're speaking to is important. Who is it that you are connecting to? My guide is Metatron, so I connect it with his energies, but you may feel guided to somebody else. When you're asking questions, my general guidance on it would be to connect as high as you possibly can. Archangel energies, they're all about love. It's all about unconditional love. They don't have ego, but they have understanding of things way beyond us. So you can, I will, while it's in my hand, I clear its energies, and then I set an intention. I set the intention to connect this pendulum with the energies of Archangel Metatron and my higher self, asking that they always tell me what I need to know with the intention of my highest good and well-being and the highest good and well-being of all. And then I test it. I come in and I'm just like, show me a yes, show me a no. And I proceed from there. Because if you're not clearing this before you start using it, it could have picked up all sorts of things. And it just, spiritual hygiene is huge. If you're using a tool that can be corrupted, just taking precautions and making sure it's clear is a great first step. When I am using a pendulum for sessions, I have, this one's a bit dirty, so you'll have to ignore that, a selenite plate. You can have selenite bowls. Any type of selenite is great for clearing, cleansing, purifying. It will clear the energies around your home. It can clear other crystals, which is why I use it. I keep it on my desk with the pendulum on there, just to keep the energies clear, to keep it, protected and clear for the next time I want to use it. So I guess the next point is questions. When you're asking the questions, how does this work? So you're asking with the pendulum yes, no questions. If you see me glance to the side, I have notes because I want to make sure that I cover everything that feels important to me about this. So it's yes, no answers. That's what your guides can give you. So the clearer your question is, the better. And I know me and my mom one day were trying to get answers to the same question, and we got different answers. I was like, how did that happen? But we asked the question a different way. Each of us worded our own way, and we got different answers. So it's, it was a lesson for me. Be as clear as you possibly can. You might find it easier if you're asking about multiple things to write it on a paper. Write the different options and hold your pendulum over the top of it. What are the responses? Are there 2 jobs that you are being offered? Are you trying to choose a new location to live, a location to visit? Even like with our business, if there's a service and you don't know which service would be right for you, use your pendulum. I do it all the time for people going through the list. Just that way it gives you a clear answer. Even if you just write on the paper, the name of different locations or the name of the different things that you are asking about, whatever it is, and then holding your pendulum and just giving it the opportunity to be like, again, that's the wording. You can say, if you say something like, show me which one would be good for me, you're asking a much more open question than, please show me the optimal choice for me. If you're asking which is the best choice, then there's only one answer. If you're saying what would be good for me, you might get 3 different answers because each of these could be good for you in different ways. But, they're not giving you which one would be best because that's not how you're asking the question. The kind of things that you ask about too will depend on how they answer. I know for me, sometimes it will swing side to side, and we're not going to tell you. And sometimes that's just the answer's not there to be seen yet. What will be shown are things that can help you, things that bring benefit. Depending on why you're asking can be huge. For people who it is their job to give people information, they may get answers on things that you wouldn't. I've tried in the past when people I know are pregnant to find out, is it a boy or a girl? I don't get an answer. They call it gossip. How does that help you learn? How does that help you move forward? It's a party trick. You don't need to do that. So just what is it you're asking and what is the reason for you asking? Also, I guess this is in line with, again, anybody that's reading energies. Anytime you're doing anything in energies, you're reading it from what are the energies now. So if you're asking a question, the answer is being given from where you are now, who you are in this moment, where the energies are in this moment. And this can be true of anything. Working with a pendulum, People bringing through psychic information, card readers, tarot, things like that. They're reading the energies now, pathways of energy, which is most likely to be the outcome. But these things rely on free will a lot of times. And so if you're asking about something in the present, what is right for you now, the answer will be a lot more accurate than if you ask, would it be optimal for me to go to this place 6 months from now? Because 6 months from now, you made a lot of choices by then, and the choice might be different. So just bear that in mind when you're asking questions so that you can get the most accurate information. You know, maybe for that, is it optimal for me to book a trip to this place right now? No, you're asking, you're just wording it differently, so the response might be different. All things just to consider when you're in there, when you're trying to get accuracy. I would say too, pendulums, it's one of those things that it may not be the right tool for you. It might not be, even if you want it to be, you know, you're desperate to get the answers, it might not be the right tool for you. There might be something else that is, you know, better for you, something that works easily in an easier way for you. There'll be times you need an answer when you don't have a pendulum with you. And then, you know, looking for other ways to work. So when that is the case, I mean, this really is my first understanding of energy was when I was a teenager, and this was something present in my family. Was, you know, even though I didn't understand it at the time, was working with the swaying, letting your own energy react to things. You know, so I will use my body as a pendulum. Sometimes it's a case of putting food against my stomach and just letting myself move. And I know for me, again, testing your energy, clearing your energy, testing your energy, asking, what is a yes? What is a no? And for me, if I sway forwards and backwards, it's a yes. If I go to the side, it's a no. I've been doing it for a long time. So it, you know, sometimes I just feel it immediately because it's something that is familiar. But it's a way for your own energy to respond, to give you the information. You can do it in other ways. I know for Jennifer, it's her shoulders that move, you know, she's always doing this. When you have a conversation with her, it's funny because I'm always like, what's happening? Are you getting different answers? But, you know, that's just for her. One shoulder is one thing and the other shoulder is something else. I do it, you know, sometimes if I'm in bed, I'll use my finger as a pendulum. Like, I'm like, which way does my finger move? And I've got used to it now. Backwards and forwards is a yes, and round is a no. And it just using your body and those energies, I know too. Some people do this. I was never able to get that to work for me. But that might be the way you feel guided to it. You know, it's just different ways of being able to get a direct answer, to get some validation of something you might be struggling to choose. So I think that's all of the information, but really what's important when you try working with something like this is to have fun with it, to not take it too seriously. If you stress yourself out, if you panic, if you worry you're going to do it wrong, it's going to block you. You know, stress is a lower vibration energy. Fear is a lower vibration energy. So if you just approach this as fun, a bit of a game, as long as you're keeping the energies clear and you're setting the intention that the information given is for the highest good and well-being of yourself and of all, you know, there's no wrong way. You can play around with this, you know, test it, build up trust. Again, look for something in your life that you can validate easily, you know, whatever that could be, and just put options down in front of you, different possible outcomes for something, and ask the question, and then make a note. Keep a note of it, and then as you get the answer to this, check back. Was I right? If you're not right, don't be disheartened. Just go, okay, did I ask the right question? Use it as something that you can learn, that you can practice. Like I said, it's not always perfect. It just, you know, you have to recognize that sometimes if you don't ask it correctly, even if you think you did, or something changes outside of you, something that alters the situation, you know, things are changeable. Everything is changeable. I don't know, but it's a fun tool. I enjoy this a lot. And sometimes in healing sessions, if people have a lot of questions about things that I don't know about, or maybe it's something they don't want to speak about out loud, I will just hold up the pendulum for them. And I say, ask Metatron yourself. And I'll hold the pendulum so it's still. I'll hold it so they can see my fingers are not moving, and just ask the question. Because you can do that. See, it's already going to a yes. It's a fun tool, something you can enjoy, but just recognize its limitations and the things that you need to put in place to be using it most effectively. But it's a tool that I find really helpful, so I wanted to share some information about it. I hope that it is helpful to you. I hope that it can help you to get some answers or just give you reassurances for something you may already be doing. That's my intention. But all right, hope everything is, going well for you in these crazy energies, that you are feeling your strength. That's what this feels like. In the beginning of this channel, I was talking about energetic rebellion, and what I thought that was versus what I see it as now is different. No, it's not about pushing back against things. It's about raising yourself up, finding your own strength, your own power, finding where you are powerful, finding things within yourself you didn't know that you had, because that's how you're going to change things. It's how you're going to build things up. So I wanted to create these tools as a way to be a reference point, to bring empowerment, to talk about things people may not be working with yet. Just bringing forward something new, something that could help you to find something within yourself, or to strengthen something that is, already been shown. So, yeah, I hope it's helpful. Love to you all. Bye.